Your laning phase in Dota 2 is a lot like a snowflake. While there are a lot of similarities between laning phases, each one is unique and slightly different. Today, I'm going to go into 9 unique laning scenarios from the carry perspective. My name is Navitz, representing my esports team, the Sploosh Troop. I hope that today I can teach you a little bit about unique carry laning scenarios. The way we'll do this is by talking about and explaining what these 9 different laning scenarios are. In the description below, you'll be able to see timestamps and links to jump to that particular laning scenario if you want to skip forward, or if there's something that doesn't interest you, you can skip over it. And then we will actually just watch the rest of the laning scenarios unfold in chronological order. So these start from minute 0 and then they go towards about the 10-minute mark in the laning phase. I don't go much farther than that, and there are 9 different unique scenarios. They're obviously not all that can exist, but these are some good ones. So the first one is going to be Faceless Void and Nature's Prophet zoning out enemy heroes and skipping their first wave. This converts into a batrider kill for the carry lane. Second, we're going to see Terrorblade using Metamorphosis on the first wave to secure last hits and denies. Thirdly, we're going to see Lich and Jugg use their strong level 1 spells to secure a kill near a full HP Beastmaster while he slightly overextends to get a last hit. By the way, I was that Beastmaster and I was so mad. Fourth, we're going to watch Gorc's Terrorblade overextend for a range creep last hit, and it's going to cost him his life as well. So, not, like I said, not all of these are great. Sometimes you get killed if you make a mistake. Fifth, and this is my favorite, I believe, is a beautiful fight for lane equilibrium between Arteezy and Monkeys Forever. It's like a 2.5 to 3 minute battle to see where the creeps end up in lane. It's a fantastic example of lane equilibrium. 6, we're going to watch Wraith King's farming patterns net him an extra 2 medium camps in terms of farm. It's a really good example for people who don't know how to switch between the jungle and the lane. 7th, we're going to watch Arteezy Naga lane patience. He's not going to push when it's going to slow down his farm. So sometimes as a carry player, you have the ability to do damage to a tower or to push. But if it would slow down your farm, it's not always beneficial. And we're going to see Arteezy opt to farm instead of push. 8th, we're going to watch Wraith King convert an advantage into an early tower kill. So this is the exact opposite. He's going to get a kill advantage, have an opportunity to kill a tower, and take it. And 9th, we're going to watch Arteezy Naga farm the jungle while defending the tier 1 tower with illusions, move across the map to join a team fight, and then return to the lane to continue farming just as the creeps meet at his tier 1 tower on the Radiant side. If you have any questions or comments afterwards, feel free to ask below. We're going to continue with the gameplay. Zoning enemies is a crucial task to being able to assert your dominance in a game of Dota. Here we're going to watch how Faceless Void tries to zone his carry and sacrifices zone as a carry and sacrifice some of his farm by doing so. So he's up against what looks like a Nature's Prophet and not a Nature's Prophet, an Earth Spirit and a Batrider with a Nature's Prophet support. So his support is very strong. He hasn't leveled up a spell yet, which is important to note. He's saving this to decide. He's saving this because he wants to decide whether or not he's going to need to time walk away from damage. And look where his creep wave is. His creep wave is all the way over here, and he's just choosing to forego a few creeps to zone or do more damage to these guys before they can come in lane. And by doing this, what he does is bring them down, force them to use more regen, which means that they're either going to have to spend more gold on regen or go back to base and give him the opportunity to free farm the lane at some point earlier in the game. And now they're continuing to close the distance here. Oh, actually, it looks like Batrider is caught by the trees. And since Void got his time walk, oh no, never mind. Nature's Prophet just ends up getting the kill, and that is a kill going down on Nature's Prophet. So the zoning there, the extra couple last hits, the extra aggressiveness of Faceless Void and Nature's Prophet by not letting them just simply lane turned into a kill on Batrider very, very early, and now that's going to make the lane significantly easier for both Nature's Prophet and for Faceless Void. As a carry player with a high DPS spell, you should use it early in the lane to do damage to the opponents if possible, and avoid pushing your wave forward if you can as well, unless that's what you want to do. So here we see Terrorblade using Metamorphosis right away to get a couple hits off on Jakiro, and then he backs up so he doesn't take too much damage from this creep wave and from Jakiro's spells. So let's zoom past this pause real quick. And we're going to see the way Terrorblade plays this out. So Lion is going to lane against the Jakiro, while Terrorblade is going to attempt to get as many last hits as he can. Now the second wave is going to push under tower as well, but Metamorphosis has a pretty long duration. It is how long? 40, 44, 48, 52. So Terrorblade has the opportunity for 40 seconds of increased damage for last hitting, which allows him to last hit a little bit easier under tower. And then what he's going to do is try to deny creeps before they get to the centaur. So now that the creep wave is going to the centaur, he probably won't be able to deny that much. So instead, he's going to use creep aggravation, creep aggro, to pull the creeps closer to him, which you see that he just did there, and he's about to do it again. See the creeps walk past here because he right clicks the centaur, pulls them closer, and then starts trying to get denies on his ranged last hits. So we just saw two big concepts from this Terrorblade. First one was using a high cooldown spell early and using some mana early, and the second one was using creep aggro to pull creeps away from an enemy that you normally wouldn't be able to stand up against next to into lane. Juggernaut and Lich are two heroes with extremely powerful level 1 combinations. So we're gonna see here how myself, the tanky Beastmaster, ends up going down to the Juggernaut and to the Lich by, well, we'll see it play out. We'll see exactly what mistake I make, what they do, and I'll talk about maybe how I should have played this better. So what I want to do as Beastmaster generally is I want to be a little bit aggressive against my opponents, because generally Beastmaster is a little bit stronger than my opponents. So you'll see here that I'm going to come forward, and I'm even going to try to hit the Juggernaut one time. So Lich is going to go ahead and throw a physical attack on me. Now I'm going to take one physical attack, and I also haven't eaten a tree with my eaten a tree with my Tango. So I take one physical attack. Now Jugg's gonna come forward, throw another physical attack on top of me. I turn around here to get this ranged last hit, and because I do this, I get the ranged last hit. I take two more physical attacks, a frostbite hits me, and now I start getting gone on by Juggernaut. So I'm moving at 216 movement speed. Juggernaut Blade Furies on top of me. There's no way I can get away. The only thing I could have potentially done to save myself there would have been to teleport, but even then, if I teleport, then I have to walk back to lane, and if I don't get away with the teleport, then it's worst case scenario. I have to die, lose my teleport, and walk back to lane. Now we'll see that Lich, because Lich is a hero that just buys mangoes and spams his Q again, and then with the movement slow is able to get the kill off on the Nyx assassin as well. So the way I should have played that differently is by being more aware of the kill potential of these two heroes. It is extremely strong if you have a person to party with. Playing Juggernaut and Lich in lane, you can get tons of MMR simply by winning your early lanes and extending the game from there. But you saw it extend here into my demise, and hopefully my painful death will teach you a lesson about playing against strong heroes, or teach you a lesson on how to play strong heroes, and that is at level 1. Sometimes a small overextension can really cost you a lot. So in this play, our boy Gorc is gonna move forward and try to get himself a last hit. Wait, let's see that again. He's gonna move forward. Which last hit does he go for here? Is he going for the range creep? Yeah. So he's gonna come forward here, and he really wants this ranged creep. He gets the range creep, but in his greediness to get that range creep, he did not notice that his shadow demon is far away, unable to save him, and he gets gone on by the silencer and by the clockwork at the same time. So what we're seeing here now is, because of a slight overextension instead of being able to turn around and fight them, no matter what, in the best case scenario, he's going to completely burn a salve here for a ranged last hit, and then he's going to lose control of his lane equilibrium, or at least he's going to lose control of this creep wave, maybe even more. Yeah, even more, because another creep wave's pushing. He's going to lose control of lane equilibrium, and he's actually going to go down, so he dies. And that is how a very small overextension, a very small bit of greed, or not understanding how not gonna say not understanding, but just misjudging how powerful your opponents are, can cost you your life very, very easily, especially in high level play. Now Shadow Demon is able to turn around, get one kill on the silencer, but nevertheless the Terrorblade has died there, and he is missing all the creeps that are dying in the meantime while he's dead, and everything that has been denied or that could have been denied. So small extension, tries to get the range creep, manages to get the range creep, but it ends up costing him his life. In an attempt to understand a little bit about creep equilibrium, what we're going to do is look at the way this wave here is pushing forward. So Arteezy's playing the Naga Siren, Monkeys Forever is playing the Nature's Prophet, and he also has these Treants that he's summoning to give him a laning advantage against Naga Siren. Now you can see here that so this was actually an important thing to note that Monkeys Forever did. So a big play coming out of Monkeys Forever here. I know this doesn't seem like a big play, but because the wave is pushing forward right now for Arteezy's side, for the Dire side, what Shadow Demon is doing is he's pulling this wave down into the creep wave over here. So as he pulls this creep camp into his creep wave, these creeps are going to follow up here, and then Arteezy is going to be able to go ahead to take this creep wave. He's going to be able to take this creep wave, walk it a little bit on the outside over this way, and bring it underneath his tower, or stop it outside from underneath his tower up here. But we're going to see Monkeys Forever make a really good play here. So check this out. He's going to send his creeps forward because he understands what the creep pull timings are. He sends his creeps forward and intercepts them and brings them back to wave. So this is a high level game of lane equilibrium. And then what's the response going to be? Well, Shadow Demon tried one pull, it didn't work, so he's going to go ahead and get the 45-second pull off on this creep camp. So he's going to pull it right about now and pull it down towards this creep wave, so the next one that's coming, while Arteezy is stuck here to lane alone against Nature's Prophet and Grimstroke, which is a Grim lane. Now the wave is going to push forward. So in this example here, there's a double wave pushing forward, and instead of letting him get this double wave, you'll notice that Grimstroke came and he pulled the camp himself. He pulled the large camp himself, and now all of these creeps, instead of coming underneath tower to be free food / free farm for Arteezy, is going to be a creep wave that's going to potentially be denied somewhat by this creep camp, and somewhat by these two heroes trying to deny the creeps themselves. So he gets what creeps are available under tower. This creep wave is going to be finished off because it wasn't stacked, so these guys are going to come back into tower this way, and Arteezy's walking up here trying to get what last hits he can. Now another creep wave is meeting over here for the Radiant side, for the Dire side. So we're about to have two creep waves of approximately equal sizes meet. So it's almost two double creep waves that we've got here, because they're both in an intense battle of creep equilibrium. So it was essentially what we saw was, all right, Nature's Prophet pulled, then Monkeys Forever was like, nah, I'm sending my Treants and I'm stopping your pull. And then Shadow Demon was like, well, yeah, you want to stop my pull, I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna pull my small camp. He pulls his small camp, and Grimstroke's like, oh yeah, you want to pull your small camp, I'm pulling my large camp. And then what ends up happening is they end up in a situation where they're trading. Neither side can get significantly far ahead here, but nobody is being denied complete waves right now. So that's how this trade ended up going. And overall, from whichever perspective of the matchup you're on here, if you're taking last hits, if you're getting ranged last hits and denies the way Monkeys Forever did right there, that's how you can judge if you're winning or losing. The more ranged last hits and denies, I mean, obviously if you can get a ton of denies, then you're just crushing, but ranged last hits and denies are very important. And now Monkeys Forever just has a ton of Treants here, and they're actually going to play on him. But that was the example that I wanted to look into to show the concept of lane equilibrium, trying to control lane equilibrium, and the different things you can do as both the off lane and the safe lane to try to get the advantage in terms of your laning position. In this sequence, we're going to see that Witch Doctor has pulled the creep camp into the small camp, and Nature's Prophet is pressuring Wraith King under tower. So Wraith King's going to do his best to get which last hits he can. Since Nature's Prophet's under tower, he's going to hit him a couple times, because he knows that if Nature's Prophet starts hitting the Wraith King while he's under tower, what's going to happen is the tower could aggro to the Nature's Prophet. So while he's running from out of tower range, he was able to get 3 last hits here. And then he used creep aggro to pull the melee creeps onto his ranged creep. And then he prioritized the range deny over the melee last hit. So he prioritized the deny over the last hit. That's something that's important to note. Now his wave has met up here. Now the wave has met up here, and instead of going here and contesting at the way that he thinks he can maximize his farm is actually by clearing the big camp and then going into the wave. So his wave is actually going to start pushing soon, because one, he's pushing it, and because he has more creeps. So since this wave is going to push and we're about to hit the 4-minute mark, what he wants to do here is try to get as many of these last hits as he can, and then use his Mortal Strike after it comes off of cooldown to come back to this camp here, farm it, and then meet whatever remainder creeps are going to be, whatever remainder of creeps there are going to be available. So we'll see how that plays out. The creep wave is getting pretty large. He's going to try to get the range. He does. Now the creep wave's under his tower, so because of how much damage the tower does, he will be able to, it will guarantee that this wave pushes down in this direction, and when it does so, he's going to be there to pick up the scraps. So here he is farming the large camp once again, and he's going to come over here and pick up potentially these extra 2 hits. Now Nature's Prophet spawns some more Treants. He does come in here and get a last hit, and he's actually alone in lane, so he knows that now is when he has to back off. I don't know what Witch Doctor is doing. It looks like he's warding or making some kind of great play mid, but Wraith King has to back off. But because of the way he played this lane, he was able to farm 2 big camps in the last 2 minutes while also getting some last hits in the lane. And he was able to, it's essentially the way that he thought would give him the maximum amount of farm. If he would have stayed in lane, he probably would have took a lot more damage. He doesn't have that much more regen on him. It was the safer way to play it, and overall I think this was a fantastic strategy for maximizing your farm as a Wraith King, using your Mortal Strike to summon skeletons and tank your damage at those large camps. What we're gonna look at here now is not a specific concept. I mean, it is kind of a specific concept, but I know it's gonna sound kind of dumb. I want to talk about patience. I want to talk about patience. So this is actually like lane equilibrium, but what I want to point out here is what Arteezy decides to do in this lane instead of pushing the lane. So you'll see that both the position 4 and 3 heroes on the Dire side have left the lane to secure bounties and to fight the Shadow Demon. And in this instance, Arteezy had the opportunity. He had 2 creep waves meeting here. He had a complete opportunity. Let's actually go back about 30 seconds here so we can see it one more time. He had a complete opportunity to push this wave out, to get all of these last hits as quickly as possible, push the wave out, but he doesn't do that. And the reason he doesn't do that is because you have to understand what your hero is capable of at what times in the game. So he only has 2 Wraith Bands right now. He just flew himself out some additional Tangos and a Gloves of Haste. But if he had pushed this lane out right here, what benefit would it have to him? All it would really mean is that he has to fight up here in a situation where the Grimstroke can come from behind him, and the Nature's Prophet has more room to chase him down. It would put him in a more dangerous position to last hit. So understanding when to be patient and pushing the wave compared to when to sit back and let the wave push into you and deny everything as quickly as you can is really important, especially for when you're playing against a hero like Nature's Prophet, who has such strong pushing capabilities. You have to understand that even if you push this wave up here, all you're doing is giving him all of the creeps that you didn't deny. So instead of doing that, you just saw the example play out where Arteezy denied all of his creeps, which he's continuing to try to do. He denied as many creeps as he could and got all of his last hits. So he was patient, he controlled his lane, he controlled the equilibrium, and he didn't try to do something that his hero's not capable of doing yet. In a few minutes, his hero will be very capable of completely pushing this wave out, maybe even with just illusions, and then farming this camp and coming back here to catch a full wave. But at this point, his hero's not strong enough, so that's why he didn't do that. So what we're going to see happen here is Wraith King is going to get an advantage in his lane, and then he's going to use that advantage to push forward and secure himself a tower kill very early on. So you can see that it seems like he doesn't have an advantage here, but he actually drops Mortal Strike and is able to do so much damage to that Grimstroke really quickly. Witch Doctor comes in, gets the Maledict off on the Nature's Prophet. There is no stun available, so Nature's Prophet teleports away. And now we're going to see that how Wraith King is going to handle this situation. So since he has his minions, his skeleton minions, he's going to be able to deal a lot of damage very quickly, and those skeleton minions are going to be able to tank and absorb a lot of tower hits. So over the next minute, what he's going to want to do is try to push this wave underneath the tower. The catapult wave is also here because every 5 minutes a catapult spawns. So understanding when you have a catapult and you can deal siege damage to the towers is really important. Now what we see up here is, or what we see on this side of the map, is that Nature's Prophet has teleported up here. So Wraith King is aware of this, and since he's aware that Nature's Prophet is teleported, he knows this is his opportunity, this is his opportunity to take this tower, because Grimstroke can't defend it alone. There was a huge creep wave here, there was a second creep wave meeting at the same time, and with both of these creep waves pushing the tower at the same time, even with this fortification, they will not be able to stop Wraith King. These skeletons are absorbing the tower shots, 2 tower shots per skeleton, and then they respawn one more time. So these guys are fantastic for pushing towers, and this is just the perfect way to capitalize on an advantage that you've gotten. And now that the tower is down, Wraith King is basically free to jungle for the next however long he wants. He's got a big advantage at this point. He can farm these camps, the ancients. He has free jungle reign, and his game becomes so much easier because he just opened up this whole side of the map for him in terms of not being threatened by somebody who's going to teleport to this lane and come gank him. This is just a beautiful way to capitalize on an advantage, beautifully understanding that Nature's Prophet was not there. Even if Nature's Prophet was there, he still could have done a ton of tower damage and come to finish it off later. So early gameplay, gets the tower within before 7 minutes. That is ideal for Wraith King. Past the 10-minute mark here, we're going to look a little bit at the farming patterns of a carry hero. And now with Naga Siren, she can farm a little bit quicker, and she can also use illusions to farm. So this would be similar as a Terrorblade trying to do this, or potentially a PL, maybe not a PL, but a Terrorblade would be a good example of another hero who could farm in the same fashion. So she leaves the illusions behind, comes to farm here, doesn't finish this camp because she feels like she is threatened. Then she comes over here and decides to start farming the ancients. So she has an Iron Talon, and notice she doesn't just farm at the ancient camp because they would all start hitting her. What she does is she hits the ancient camp, brings it back a little bit, let her illusions tank some damage, and now is off to the jungle. At the same time, she's pushed her way forward, so her tower isn't in danger of dying, and that she's sending 2 creeps back, or 2 illusions back, to try to get the remainder of these last hits. And it looks like she's going to get another one here. while she manages to also be in this fight mid here. So that was actually a pretty fantastic example of how you can play the map while not putting yourself in danger of losing your tower. She farmed this wave, she sent 2 illusions to farm the next wave, came here, farmed the small camp, farmed the ancients. After the ancients sent the illusions this way and walked towards mid and was able to participate without needing to use a teleportation scroll. And what this means is that if Naga has to, or if Naga is able to, she can come bottom and continue farming. Let's actually see what she decides to do here if they get the kill on the Ursa, which it looks like they will. Gonna get the kill on the Ursa, and where is she gonna decide to go? Back bottom. Exactly, perfect. So Naga comes back bottom, and now she has the 2 creep waves meet right in front of this tower, and she's back at it again. So she's going to continue with a similar farming pattern now, going back to this camp while her 2 illusions push up here and just happily farming, because that's all she really needs to do. Thank you guys for watching the video. Hopefully you learned a little bit of what to do, a little bit of what not to do. Overall, I just hope that maybe it has opened up your way of thinking about the laning phase a little bit, because it's not always cookie cutter. There's always different kinds of ways to play the lane. My name again is Navitz. You can find me on Twitch, you can find me on YouTube. I'm representing my team, the Sploosh Troop, and until next video, peace out.